Hello again. In this video I thought to take a look at these things, effects pedals or stomp boxes, and specifically how you supply power to them. Now, I think most guitarists at some point in their playing career play with stomp boxes, either as a starting point for moving on to bigger and more complicated multi-effects units, or something that you use and you kind of stick with. Personally, I've been through all sorts of different types of effects over the years, so I'm back to using old stomp boxes at the minute, which is what prompted me to do this video, because I've been thinking about how I actually supply power to these on my pedal board. Now, typically an effects pedal will take a little 9-volt battery, some just slots in under the case there, and if you use a number of effects pedals, which a lot of guitarists do, it can be quite expensive just buying batteries to manage all of your pedals. Now, even if you're using rechargeables, it still gets to be a bit onerous making sure that all your rechargeable batteries are charged, and making sure you've got enough in a battery to get you through a gig, because you don't want the batteries running flat or running low partway through performance. And the other thing which can sometimes catch you out is usually when the input cord's plugged into there, it's going to start draining the battery. This pedal's got like a little switch on the input jack, so if you walk away from the pedal but you leave your guitar plugged into it, then it's going to drain the battery even though it's not really doing anything. And that's a real problem if you've got a board with several different pedals in, because you need to unhook all of the little patch cables in between. So the way a lot of us get around it is use that little socket on the back where we can plug in a mains adapter. Some pedal manufacturers actually supply a mains adapter with the pedal, which is quite cool. Or you can go out and you can buy their approved adapters. And that's great because it gets you around the problem of being able to supply power to the pedal without worrying about batteries running low or having to keep a stock of batteries there. So that's cool. But then you run into a problem that if you've got a decent size effects board, you've got lots of pedals there, lots of mains adapters needing to power them all, so you need to find multi-way adapters off the wall socket and so on. It can get to be a bit just untidy as well. What I wanted to talk about in this video is quite an easy solution around that problem, and it's one of these. Now, this might look at first sight like the sort of mains adapter that you get with an effects pedal. The big difference between this and the sort of adapters that get bundled in with effects pedals is the power rating. Specifically, this one's able to supply up to 1 amp. Now, 1 amp basically is the measurement of the current the power supply can give you. Now, an effects pedal takes a long way short of a full amp. Typically effects pedal consumption is measured in what's called milliamps, which is 1/1000th of an amp. So if you think about a pedal that's maybe taking 70 or 80 milliamps, that's a fraction of a full amp, a full 1000 milliamps. Even a big digital delay pedal might only be taking 250 odd. So there's enough electricity, if you like, available out of this little box to power a whole bunch of pedals. But it's only got one output. It's got the same adapter on the end as all of your other effects pedal adapters. It's a little tubular thing, what we call center negative. So there's a little prong on the inside of the pedal, goes into there as the negative terminal, and the outer sleeve here is the positive terminal. So I can power one pedal quite comfortably off that. But as I said, there's power adapters capable of producing a lot more, so we need another little bit of gear. So we've got this. This is a daisy chain cable. On one end there's a plug which looks the same as the sort of plug on the back of your effects pedal, and power adapter plugs into there. And what I've now got is a cable with a whole bunch of individual plugs on it, which I can use to power individual pedals on the board. What I need to be careful of though is that I don't ask for too much out of that adapter. So I need to be careful. Look at the labels on the back of the pedals, or on the box that the pedal came in. It'll say what the electrical rating is. So if you've got a whole bunch of pedals that you want to power, typically these daisy chain cables will power up to 5. look at all the pedals you're going to be powering and add up the current, the thing that's measured in milliamps. Add up all of those milliamps and make sure it comes to less than 1,000 if you're using a 1 amp or a 1,000 milliamp mains adapter. As long as you're short of that figure, you're going to be able to get enough power from that power adapter to power all of your pedals. So you just hook these things from the daisy chain cable into individual pedals and you're good to go. One thing I've done with this cable is the way my pedal board's laid out. I've got one of these adapter cables that I don't actually use. What I've done is I've wrapped that up with some insulating tape. Reason being, there's still electricity going through it potentially, and if the cable's flapping loose, it can touch against something metal like the case on the pedal board, or I'm using metal cased stomp boxes, and it can spark and do all sorts of nasty things, because an amp is still quite a reasonable amount, 9 volts DC. So basically just wrap that up with a bit of tape so that once everything's plugged in, there's no stray electrical connections. Now you can get much more sophisticated power supplies to go into pedal boards, things that cost hundreds of pounds or hundreds of dollars. They're very reliable, very dependable. They've got sorts of features in where they'll handle multiple mains voltages, so if you're going on tour, you're going to different countries, that sort of power supply is great. But just for somebody who's playing at home or doing a few gigs down the local bar, something like this is ideal, because you've got one thing you can just plug into the main socket, so plug your amps in, plug that in, have all your daisy chain cables fixed up onto your pedal board. You don't need to worry about unplugging the input jacks from your pedals, because you're not using batteries, you're doing everything off the mains, and it's cleaner in terms of cabling, because you've just got this one run of cables, you haven't got lots of wall plugs coming into the board. So I'd recommend if you've got a few pedals, shop around for these. To be honest, they're not that expensive if you consider what you'll be paying for a number of individual adapters, and really one of these and a daisy chain cable or two, it really is cost effective. So there you go, a little idea there if you're needing to power a number of different effects pedals. Hope you found that useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video sometime soon. Bye for now.